he hit you? Don't worry, just be
Well,
honest.
he like grabbed my face, like this. He didn't like hit me in the face, like he didn't like punch me in the face.
So how did we get here today with Gabby dead and Brian on the run missing? Well, the first clip you saw was a lie. The second clip you saw was a reality. In this video, I want to talk about two main issues: the falsehood of social media and domestic violence, which I saw at a very young age. So let's get into the video, guys. Let's go. All right, before we actually start, I want to ask you guys a big favor. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps out with the channel, the algorithm out, and it's completely free. So now let's actually get into the video, guys. Let's go. So let's begin with social media. Now for today, I think social media is not as important as domestic violence in regards to the topics I'll be discussing. So I'm going to give a quick, brief overview of my problem with social media and what it's causing today. In the first clip that you saw, we saw that Gabby and Brian were happily together, enjoying traveling the world, or the United States, I should say. But the reality was, there was a lot of violence going on between them. The relationship was not that good. And I say that to say that social media is a falsehood. What you see on social media is not the truth. In all honesty, it's really not. And that's something a lot of us have a problem with. We go on social media, we see someone living a lavish lifestyle, and we want the same thing. However, what we don't know is what's actually going on behind the scenes. What is that person going through? Is that person depressed? Or is that person doing something shady to get what he or she is getting? We don't have any idea, but yet we want to live the type of life they live without knowing how they're living that lifestyle or whether that lifestyle is even true or not. So this topic actually reminds me of Anthony Bourdain, the guy that used to go around the world eating the best food, talking to some of the most amazing people you can find in the world. But yet this man killed himself. So Anthony Bourdain killed himself, and nobody would have ever guessed that he would do something like that, because on TV we saw that he was living the lifestyle that everybody envied, something that we all want. But the reality was, like I said earlier, you don't know what's going on in people's heads. So when you go on social media, when you watch TV and you see this lavish lifestyle that you see and you want it for yourself, you don't know what's really going on. Their life is not better than your life, and that's just the truth. And you'll make the most out of your own life as well. Don't try to follow what somebody else is doing unless it's a very good example. Now, before I give my experience seeing domestic violence at a young age, I want to first say that when it happened, I was 10 years old. And another thing that's important for the story, I did not have my citizenship or my green card at the time, so I was really scared of deportation. Like, I was 10, so of course I didn't have all the facts and knowledge about how everything worked, but it was a legit fear of mine. And also, it wasn't until 13 years later when I realized why people stay in abusive relationships. When I was 9 years old, I had a cousin move into our house. Now, when she moved in, she was already pregnant. She was a couple months along. You could see the bump. Now, when she moved in, I didn't ask any questions of why she was moving in. I was 9 years old. I was just happy that I had somebody to call a sister and to also play with. Now, she had the baby a couple months later. Her and I had grew very close during the time she was staying with us. When she had the baby, she moved in with her boyfriend. So I would visit them a lot. One weekend when I was visiting them, I was, on the couch watching TV. And all of a sudden I hear this loud bang and screaming. And I'm sitting there watching TV and she comes running and she gives me the phone. So she gives me the phone and screams, "Call the police." Now, when she gave me the phone, I was frozen. I was weighing up my options in my head, whether I should call the police or not. I was just looking at the phone the whole time, just like, what the fuck is going on here? Should I call the police? If I call the police, they might arrest me and send me back to Africa. I don't have any green card or citizenship. That's not a risk I'm willing to take. So after coming to what was the right conclusion in my head, I peacefully took the phone and I put it down. And I thought to myself, sorry girl, you're on your own on this one. All right, that's not really what I was thinking. But what happened was, honestly, I didn't know whether I should call the police or not, because in my head I was unsure whether she actually wanted me to call the police. I really was. I didn't know whether she really wanted me to call the police. And when she had given me the phone, she actually ran back into the room with him. And I was, standing there with the phone in my hand. I was actually, I really was thinking about what decision I should make, whether to call the police or not. And when she came back out, bruh, she took her hand and slapped the hell out of me. I was like, whoa. I'm like, you're really on your own now. All right, that's not what I thought when she slapped me, but I was very upset about that slap. I was like, yo, like, you're mad at me. He's the one hitting you. Like, you should be hitting him. But Then again, I was 10 years old at the time, so again, my head wasn't really deep in it. I wasn't really thinking too hard about it. But now, earlier on I said it took another 13 years for me to understand why she was sticking with this man, why she's still with this man till this day. When that first happened, she had one child with him. Now she has 4 children with the man, and they're still together, and guess what? He still hits her. But now let's get into the reason why it took me 13 years to realize why people stay in abusive relationships. So 13 years later, I'm in college. I finally understand the psychology of why people stay in abusive relationships. Now, I'm laying in bed with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and we had been together for a year and a half at that time. Little did I know, a year later, she would break up with me and completely break my heart. And oh boy. All right. I swear I wasn't crying, but let's get back to the story. So, I'm laying in bed with my ex-girlfriend, and something on TV comes up, or Instagram, and it was about domestic violence. And I asked her, I'm like, so like, why do people stay in relationships with somebody that abuses them? And she, she's like, I don't know. And so I asked her a question. I'm like, just out of pure curiosity, I'm like, so if I was to ever hit you, what would you do? And she says to me, well, it depends on whether I did something to deserve it or not. And if it was a one-time thing, I would stay with you. And it took me a while. I really, sat down and thought to myself. I was like, all right, that makes sense. Now I understand why my cousin stays with her husband now, and why everybody else in an abusive relationship stays with their partner. And the reason for that is because they often think it's their fault, and they often think that it's going to be their last time. First off, it's never your fault. Nobody should ever put their hands on you, ever. And it's never going to be a one-time thing. If they do it once, they'll do it again. All right? So that's what I wanted to say for this video, guys. And it's very unfortunate with what happened with Gabby. Rest in peace to her. Prayers out to her family. Hopefully they find this loser, Brian Laundrie, very soon. And, that's really it for the video. So if you guys can do me a big favor, like and subscribe. And I'm going to go call my ex now and beg her to take me back, guys. Yo, come on, man. Just come on. Just give me one more chance. I really miss you. Come on. I swear I'll be better next time. Oh, shit.